Hey guys, welcome to this video. Today I'm going to show you how to configure the Cyberoam CR50ING, and we are going to take it and install pfSense. Okay, so it's going to be one of these bad boys. As you can see, it's the Cyberoam, it's the CR50ING, and we're going to take the Cyberoam OS off of here and we're going to reflash it with pfSense. Now, obviously, the requirements are you're going to need at least a USB thumb drive and a RJ45 serial to USB, because without this, you won't be able to essentially serial in and you won't be able to see what is going on. So, these are the requirements: a USB and a serial cable. Now, as you can see, I have taken this off already. There's just 6 screws, 2 here, 2 on the back, and 2 on the side. And what we need to do, the very first thing we need to do is remove the CF card. So make sure you take this out. You have your hard drive connected, your RAM, and everything. So now that we have essentially our CF card out, we can put the cover back on, and then we can get started on the PC. So I'll see you there.
Alright, so we are now on the desktop, and the very first thing that we are going to want to do is head to pfSense. So links will be in the video description. You can head to pfSense.org/download. And then all you want to do is head over and click on the download page, and then this will take you to the Netgate shop. So all we want to do is click on this one, the AMD 64 memstick USB. This will be for the serial type as well. If this doesn't work, I will leave a link in the video description for version 2.7.2 serial installer. If this doesn't work, like I said, there'll be links in the video description. So once we have this, once we have created our account, obviously because you need to create an account to be able to download this, or if it doesn't work, use the link in the description. We need to either install Velena Etcher, or we need to use Rufus. So in my case, I will be using Rufus. Once it is done downloading, you will be greeted with this screen. As you can see, we currently don't have our USB installed, so we can put all of this inside of here. Now, when you have your USB plugged in, you'll see that your device pops up. And as you can see, if we head over to my device. Now, as you can see, if when we head over to my device, it is here. As you can see, I've already flashed mine with version 2.7.2. You can see it's the memstick serial. So you can see it'll dump a bunch of stuff inside here. Here's all the EFI, all the boot stuff, all that juicy stuff. All you're going to do is select your drive. You're going to say select, and then essentially what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and find wherever you downloaded your image file for pfSense. You're going to go ahead and click on that, and then it will configure everything for you. And then all you're going to say is click the start button, and then it's going to give you a whole bunch of warnings saying, are you sure you want to format this? Just click yes. And it's going to ask you, are you double sure you want to remove everything? Say yes again. And then all you have to do is wait. Once you have that done, you can head over to PuTTY, as this is what we're going to need to use. You are going to go ahead and install the first one. And then we're going to say save. And so now we have downloaded PuTTY, and now we can go ahead and install it. Here we can just say next. As you can see, I already have it installed, but for you, you can just click next, next, next until it is done. I'm just going to cancel out of this, and then we're going to open up PuTTY. Now, what is very important, we're going to need to serial, but you can see here we have COM and we have speeds. So we're going to need to open our device manager. Now, I don't have my serial cable plugged in, so if I go ahead and plug it in now, as you can hear, it is now connected, and you'll see it will pop up here, COM and LPT. If we open this up, we can see USB serial port is on COM3. So we just change this to COM1 to COM3. Now, please note, if you haven't serialed into your Cyberoam yet, leave this on default. You want to make sure that this is 9600. And then we can click on the serial connection. Make sure that the flow rate is set to none. This is the only thing that we need to change. Then we can head back to our session, and then we can connect. So, I have now connected my console cable to the Cyberoam. As you will see with the on-screen image, you'll see that my blue cable was the console one that I had shown you in the very beginning of the intro of this video, and is connected to the console port. So now what we need to do is we need to take out the USB, as you can hear, of the thumb drive that we had just flashed. Remember, with the serial version of pfSense, we can go ahead and plug that in to our Cyberoam. You'll see with the on-screen pictures that it is all plugged in. Now that that is all done, so remember, for the first time you need to use 9600. As I have already changed this, I'm going to use the speed of 115/200. This is the maximum speed that you can have for Cyberoam. Let's minimize all of this. Let's stick that here. I will zoom in so that you guys can see a lot better. I'll make this ever so slightly bigger. And now we are ready to turn on the firewall. And as you can see, we are in, doing the stuff. We can enter the BIOS as we need to do this. Now we can head all the way over to save and exit, and you can see here is our USB, and this is our hard drive. So we're going to override the boot and go into pfSense. And there we are. pfSense is loaded, and now we just need to wait for it to do all of its stuff, and then we can install. Alright, now that we have entered here, so console type, just want to type out exactly what it says, the VT100. We can push enter, and now it just gives us the EULA, and we can just say accept. And here we are on the nitty-gritty stuff. So we can say install pfSense, because that's what we want to do. Use the second option for the guided UFS disk setup. And then we want to select the entire disk. So this is going to do all the partitions for us. As you can see here, confirmation. This will erase the entire disk. Are you sure you want to proceed? We can say yes. And for easier, the option that I always use is MBR, the DOS partitions. Works perfectly fine. I haven't tested the other ones, but I know that from personal experience, and as you will see, this option does work. So we can say OK. You can see here, there is everything. So we want to do ADA 0. And we can say finish, and we want to commit. And now it will go ahead and install the file system of pfSense onto our hard drive. Okay, congratulations, you have now successfully installed pfSense on your Cyberoam firewall. So now what we need to do is we need to push enter, wait for it to do its thing, and then we will plug out the USB. You'll see it's doing that. It's detached it. The moment we see that, we can unplug. So I've now unplugged. You can see it's booting up now. There you go. as you can see, pfSense is officially installed. Now let us wait for it to do all of its stuff. And then I can show you how to configure the WAN and the LAN while we are still serialed in. So there you go. So as you can see, the WAN is on port IGB0, also known as port A on the firewall, and LAN is on IGB1, also known as port B on the firewall. If yours, for whatever reason, says that it's unassigned, what we can do is we can go to option number 1, and it will show us all of the links and interfaces that we have available, and it's going to ask us, should VLANs be set up now? We are going to say no. So now what we can do, the easiest way, if your IGB 0 is not port A, but let's say for example it is port E on the Cyberoam, you might get a bit confused and you're unsure of which port your current WAN is. We can just push A. A is going to be for auto detection, and you can see there that connect the WAN interface now and make sure that the link is up. So you can plug in your main Ethernet cable into your desired port of what you want your WAN to be. I want my WAN to be port A, so I can push enter. And then once that is done, you should see that it should kick you back out to the main menu. And now you can see DHCP4 is on, for my private network, is 10.18.18.85. So what we can do is head over to the browser. We can say 10.18.18.85. If this doesn't work, as you can see, it is taking too long to connect. What we can do is we can see the LAN. So notice that our LAN is 192.168.1.1 using the /24 subnet. So our LAN is connected to IGB1, and this is port B. So what I can do now is I can unplug the Ethernet on my desktop, and I can plug in the Ethernet that is coming from the firewall on port B. I can plug that into my desktop, and as you can see over here, it is going to try to identify. So what we can say is 192.168.1.1. We can head to this, and as you'll see, your connection is not private. If you get this, you have good news. We can proceed, say yes, it's unsafe, and you are now in pfSense. So the default username is admin, and the password is pfSense. We can log in, and then we'll get greeted by the setup wizard. So we can say next. Just telling you about their support. We can say next again. Here you can call it whatever you want. There's the host name, the domain. I generally just keep this as default. This I would change as to whatever, but for the use of this video, I'm going to leave it all default. Primary DNS server, we can select quad 1. We can say next. And now it's just going to say the time server that it's connected to, and make sure you select your time zone. My time zone is GMT +2. So I'm going to say next. And now we're going to configure the WAN. So at the moment you can see it as DHCP, but you can set it to triple PoE. This is for if you're going to have your fiber directly connected in, you can put in your username and your password so that it can dial. For the demonstration of this video, I'm going to keep it on DHCP. We can say next. Now we can configure the LAN. For the use of this video, I'm going to keep it on 192.168.1.1, but I would highly recommend that you change this around. For example, we can say 192.168.15.1 just to have a small layer of security, it is always good practice to just change it to 192.168.15.1 in this case. As you saw on my home network, I'm using 10.18.18. whatever. And then make sure that the subnet mask is 24. We can say next. And then I'm going to keep the username and password default, as again for the use of this video. Now we can say reload. Now if you're still serialed in, you will see that it's just giving us that we are successfully logged in. So we are still connected. So we can just move this out of the screen. And then we can open a new tab of all of this for 192.168.15.1. And then we just wait for it to apply all of the changes. If you are greeted with this site can't be reached after changing the IP address, what I would highly recommend you do is go back to PuTTY and select option number 5 so that we can reboot the system, and we just want to do reboot normally. As you can see, pfSense is now rebooting. This generally just helps us with changing of the LAN addressing and everything, because we changed it from 1.1 to 15.1. It's sometimes that you'll face the error that you just cannot connect to the new IP address. So it's always best just to reboot the system, wait for it to come back online, and then we should be able to connect. So let's wait for this to reboot, and then I'll see you once it's rebooted. Okay, so the system is now back up, and you will notice that immediately we are on 192.168.15.1. And we are now back here to your connection is not private. So we can say advanced and then continue and log in. And we'll just get the copyright and trademark notices. We can just say accept. And then they're just going to say thank you for using their product. So we can close this. And as you can see, our WAN interface using DHCP is 10.18.18.85. And our LAN is 192.168.15.1. Now, out of the box, you are good to go. I mean, we can go here, we can say speedtest.net, and this is through the firewall, I remind you. And you can see we are getting some very decent speeds. So, no issues whatsoever there. And you are now officially done. You have officially configured your Cyberoam router with pfSense.